Sabina Eriksson was one of the Swedish twin sisters who became internationally known in 2008 after a strange and dangerous incident on the M6 motorway in the UK. Sabina and her twin sister, Ursula, were seen behaving in a highly erratic and paranoid state. Without warning, they ran directly into fast moving traffic on the motorway. Ursula was struck by a vehicle and suffered serious, but not life threatening injuries. Sabina also appeared disoriented and delusional. Later that same day, she would jump off a 40-foot bridge, fracturing both her ankles upon impact. Both sisters were transported to the North Staffordshire, where they received treatment. While they were still hospitalized, police made a devastating discovery. A local man named Glenn Hollinshade, who had taken Sabina in out of kindness, had been found stabbed to death in his home. Neighbors alerted the police after noticing Sabina's frantic flight from the residence. Once officers entered the house, they discovered he had been stabbed multiple times and had slowly bled to death. His remains were formally confirmed by the North Staffordshire coroner's office, which ruled his death as a murder by stabbing. Ursula, who was hospitalized but not implicated in the killing, was never charged. Police determined that her injuries and mental state made her unfit for interview or prosecution. Sabine, on the other hand, once stabilized, became the central figure in the criminal investigation. Doctors would later consider whether Sabina and Ursula were suffering from shared psychosis or folie à deux, a rare psychiatric condition where two closely connected people share the same delusional system. People in such a state are not necessarily attempting suicide. They are driven by delusional fear, not self-harm. Broader psychiatric data shows that among individuals of more common psychotic disorders, such as schizophrenia, the lifetime suicide risk is about 5.6%, and worldwide, approximately 350,000 deaths each year are associated with psychotic disorders. But in this case, the twins' behavior appeared fueled by acute, shared paranoia rather than intentional self-destruction. Following their hospital stay, Sabina was discharged first. She was transported to the Womborne police substation, where she remained overnight. Ursula, more seriously injured, was discharged months later and released without any criminal charges. Sabina made her first court appearance in May 20th, 2008, at the North Staffordshire Magistrates Court after spending the night in police custody. Her hearing was conducted before a full magistrates panel. District Judge Robert Whaley, accompanied by two lay magistrates from the public. Sabina was represented by public barrister Justin Houston Roberts, who would continue to defend her throughout the proceedings. Given the severity of the allegations and the circumstances of the killing, the panel denied release. Sabina was ordered to remain in custody while awaiting trial and was transported to the HN prison, Bronzefield, a secure facility in Surrey equipped for high-risk detainees. The case was overseen by Chief Crown Prosecutor Harry Ireland, who formally charged Sabina with murder. Ursula, meanwhile, was officially cleared of any involvement at this point. Once doctors deemed her medically stable, police removed her restraints and she was released from the hospital without any potential legal trouble. Sabina's legal journey grew complicated as her mental state became a central issue. Her defense argued she was suffering from shared psychotic disorder, likely triggered or intensified by her bond with her twin sister. They also introduced evidence suggesting she may have been experiencing a rare psychotic condition that caused her to hear voices. Throughout her interviews and court proceedings, Sabina repeatedly answered questions with no comment. Her trial was initially scheduled for February 2009, but serious concerns about her mental stability emerged. Justice Henry Saunders, who later handled the case, noted signs that her psychological condition was deteriorating, transferring proceedings to the Nottingham Crown Court. This was intended to minimize local bias. But as the February date approached, the court concluded she was not yet fit for trial. No jury was ever impaneled. During the months that followed, the prosecution, defense, and Justice Saunders negotiated a resolution. On September 2nd, 2009, at the Luton Crown Court, Sabina Eriksson entered a plea of guilty to manslaughter by diminished responsibility. The justice accepted the plea, noting that her disorder was the culpability. He expressed sympathy for her circumstances and the role on her psychological collapse. Justice Saunders sentenced Sabina to 5 years in prison. She remained at the Bronzefield following sentencing, but because UK law mandates automatic release at the halfway point of a determinate sentence, and because Sabina had already spent 439 days in custody, her actual remaining time was much shorter. She ultimately served approximately 2 years and 3 months post-sentence, being released on parole in 2011. By accepting the plea deal, she waived her right to appeal. Thank you for listening to this story on Strawberry Ink. Till next time, stay safe, take care. May the victim rest in peace. May those affected rest in peace. And have a good rest of your day.